Well, in the meantime, your next meeting is
Yes.
scheduled for June 8th, right? Is that right, Kim?
Here's Scott.
I believe so, yes.
So
Second
is-
Tuesday in June.
would that be your intention, is to go live on that date?
Kim, Lisa?
It's up to you. We just have to know so we can advertise it, that it's not via Zoom, it's in person.
Does that give you enough time?
It should, yes. If we
The
know.
only
the
one-
date.
The only one that might be is Guyan.
You want to just defer to then maybe the second meeting in June to give you a little more lead time so it's not a scramble?
Yeah,
I think that's probably better.
That's fine.
June 22nd.
Second
I'll let
meeting in
the town
June.
board know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
works.
what the guide?
Yeah.
Is that what the guidelines are now?
Yeah, the guidelines are through the 16th of June for not in person. So if they're not, it doesn't matter. Like Ed said, you can go back to in person whenever, but because the town board's been meeting in person. So we just need to make sure that we have enough time to advertise that it's back in person.
So would the second meeting in June give you enough time?
Yes, that will work.
Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the May 25th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Victor Planning Board. And as we usually do, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item, we do have meeting minutes from April 27, 2021. Everybody had a chance to take a look at those? Okay, anybody have any issue? Okay, who will move the approval of the meeting? What?
No issues. I'll make a move to approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, Joe Logan moves. Joe Lindbeck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting minutes of April 27, 2021 are approved. We only have one item of correspondence received. That's from the Jack Nettleton with regard to the Mooney Pool and Pool House. And I didn't quite understand what he was saying. He's opposed to it?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Is he signed in for this meeting?
I'm not sure. I did send him the YouTube link and told him that he could comment.
Let's see his name up here. Okay. Well, we'll go to the boards and committee updates. Ed, anything from town board?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so yesterday at the town board meeting prior to, we had a workshop and we talked about the residential overlay that's currently in effect and potential adjustments to density levels throughout the town. Labella had done kind of a survey and a study, had met with some people in town hall, took a look at the town and kind of identified some areas that potentially could go from a lower density to a higher density, or from a higher density to a lower density. So there's a lot of discussion around it. And I think the board landed on at the end, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. As a developer, for example, looks at an area and thinks that the density is not correct, which I'm sure several of them will think that they need, more density, but then they can appeal to the town board and see if we can work through it that way. One of the things that I was personally opposed to is seeing like the big jumps to go from like highest density to rural going down, or go from least density to higher. And part of the discussion around that was the fact that I don't think it lends itself to the way that the neighborhoods or the areas are currently to make that big jump all at once. So there's still going to be more discussion about this. I'm sure that as we go through it, there will be developers that will come in with, properties they want to develop, and they're going to look for, adjustments to the density. So we will look at that. Again, another part of that discussion is the sewer system. And what does that mean for that if the density changes? Do we have, enough capacity? What's the future if we do that? And then, as we know down the road, then you have to incur infrastructure charges to either upgrade pump stations or add additional lines or whatever. So there's still a bunch to be talked about. We kind of left it, as I remember, and Kim, you can comment, but basically it was going to be on a case-by-case basis.
So Ed, if you leave it on a case-by-case basis, won't you be setting precedent with the first case that you approve, and you'll have to follow that for everybody that comes down the road?
Could potentially be a slippery slope, and that was part of the discussion. But I think that if we follow the comprehensive plan and look at that, and then again look at it on a case-by-case basis on where it makes sense or where it doesn't, it's potentially you could run into some issues down the road. We're trying to keep the aesthetics of the town of Victor. One of the comments that I made was like, as we go down like Fountain Hill Road and you start heading towards Farmington and all the growth and all the building that's going on there, and you look, we come from really like some horse farms and some rural type land. You got the golf course, and you go down, and then all of a sudden you got all these building developments. And I don't know if in that part of town that's really what we want. And the comp plan also said that anything south of that route was supposed to be really agricultural and rural. So I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth on this.
So why not make a ruling now that dives with the comprehensive plan and let the developers plead their cases for a variance?
Well, again, like I said, future discussion. We're still looking at it. I think because there's probably 10 to 20 different areas that were identified in this workshop that potentially could change density-wise. So I think that looking at that, if we just adopted that, I don't think everybody was comfortable that maybe that's not the right answer. So we deferred to the case-by-case basis. And you're right.
I'd be happy to follow up a little bit on that, just so that the planning board has a little bit of background on where Labella was coming from and these potential areas where residential overlay could change. So the comprehensive plan adopted in 2015 identified several areas on a conceptual future land use map where residential density, where the town felt maybe we could handle, maybe the town would want to accommodate some changes in residential density. As Ed mentioned, some indicated a decrease in density, some locations indicated an increase in density. And some of the conversations that have been had are, the town probably isn't willing to go through and do all of those as a group, right? Because it's such a major change that, implementing all of that at once, they're not feeling quite comfortable doing that. The other thing is for those areas that were identified as a potential decrease in residential density, it kind of sounds like the town doesn't want to move forward with decreasing residential density due to concerns largely with impacts to property owners. And, there's probably been some folks that have maybe sat on their property for a while and are maybe they're waiting to develop it, maybe they're not. But, reducing the residential density kind of sounds like some folks around town aren't up for that. But there are maybe some locations on that future land use map where the town might want to consider moving forward with changing those. So, they want to, it kind of looks like the town board might want to adhere to a component of the comprehensive plan and a part of that future land use map. But as Ed said, I think there's more discussion to be had, and they just want to be careful and not jump the gun, not do a full wholesale change on the residential density.
So who's going to make the decisions on changing the density? Is that going to be the town board as well on a case-by-case basis?
So that is a town board decision, right? Because it's a component of the zoning, right? You've got two zoning maps. You've got your regular zoning map and then the residential overlay zoning map. That can only be changed by the town board. Certainly, they have the ability to seek planning board input. Maybe I would imagine maybe at some point they might refer something to you guys for your input. So.
Anybody else want to chime in on this?
I could. I just see this as I'm not going to use the words free for all, but I just see this as a real problem for the planning board to justify not allowing an expansion of an increase in density in some areas without having the guidance of the comprehensive plan. For instance, we just went through these with the two subdivisions, the Anderson and the one by the stables on County Route 41, where they were going to try to swap to go to higher density at Anderson, and we said no, because it's right now 3 acres per house on the Anderson subdivision, and there's going to be an increase, or they're bringing in sewer lines, and so what's to say that somebody couldn't come along and expand the sewer line even further south and say, all right, well, we'll go from 3 acres to 2 south of Boughton Hill Road, County Route 41. As long as there's no guidance for what we have to base a decision on whether or not to increase the density, because I don't see it going the other way. How are we supposed to make a decision on that? So I could see identifying areas that we would potentially reconsider the density, but not just saying, all right, it's fair game anywhere in the town. So that's my problem with it.
Yeah, and Joe, just so you know, the map that they devised, that they came up with for this workshop, it was not just anywhere in town. There were specific pieces of land that were identified as being moving from one level to a different level. So you had it color coded when it went basically, let's see if I get this right, least density to highest, least density to medium density, or medium to highest. So those will all be the increase or potential increase. And then they also identified high density to rural, high density to medium, and medium density to rural, which would be the 3 that would go the other way. So those were identified. Each one has its own little piece or portion of property that was identified in this map and the plan for our discussion. So it's not like the whole town is up for grabs.
Yeah, it's in the comprehensive plan currently, Joe. Those maps are in the comprehensive plan currently, and those were the suggested and it was adopted into the comprehensive plan by the town back in 2015.
So the map that Wes is sharing illustrates the point I just made about you can go to a higher density. I'll call it the west middle side of the town there where Anderson is, that they could have come back and asked for, a higher density, even not offering to swap for the lower density on the stables on the south side of County Route 41 near the town line.
Correct.
So everything else that's not shaded, it looks like, would not even be considered as an opportunity to increase density, for instance. Is that what I'm seeing, Wes?
That's correct. Yeah, only where you see the cross hatching is where I think the town board would consider potential changes in the existing residential density. So, and for example, down here on the south side of town where you see the blue cross hatching, the town, it kind of sounds like the town doesn't want to move forward with anything. And what the blue represents, as you see over here in the legend, is a proposed change to a less dense residential development. So currently the current residential overlay zoning district allows for a certain density, and these blue areas would decrease that density. And it sounds like the town board doesn't want to go through with that component. The only areas that they would consider are those that have the red cross hatch and pink cross hatching potential
Right,
density,
so-
and many of which have already been developed, right? So for example, up here in the golf course, I guess that's not Silverton Glen, but is this Dorchester Park over here? And certainly, I can't remember the names of these subdivisions, but they've already been developed.
So the blue hatching at the south part of the town, is that all right now in the least density, or is it high density because it's on 444 or?
It's kind of middle. It's kind of middle. I'll bring up that map too, just so you can see. The residential overlay zoning map. All right, can you see this is the existing residential overlay zoning map.
Okay, so A is least dense, B is medium, and C
And
is
then-
probably higher. or higher.
Correct. You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
All
So
right, so
basically-
someone came in with, even though the board would consider reduction in density in B, for instance, along County Route 41. If someone came in with a density that met B, do we even have the opportunity to say, well, we think it's too dense, even though it's in the medium density zoning, we think it should be a lighter density? Or there's just no, because right now that's the zoning, we've got to allow them that.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could tell them that you feel it's too dense, but they certainly have the right to propose a project and
Right.
develop according to the existing residential overlay zoning map.
Yeah, so you're really not gaining anything here except in saying, all right, well, we think there's some areas that don't need to be as dense, as rural as they are because this, and that. So whether it's sewers or, neighborhood character or whatever, traffic, but there's no change in density to make it less dense, period. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
mean,
that
that
was
was-
part of the discussion.
Yeah.
And that really was about landowners' rights kind of thing,
Right?
where people have this property, it's been zoned that way for quite some time. And now to make it less dense may not be a fair thing.
Yeah. So you're
So,
giving the people who have it in the higher density, goals or targets, then opportunity to increase the density. So
yeah,
It
all right,
just
so that's
seems
really
that
what this is.
there's big chunks of the map where they're increasing the density, which is far outweighs any reduction of density that's proposed. And, if you look at the comprehensive plan, the surveys that were done, people come to Victor for the rural nature of things, and increasing the density reduces the attractiveness of the town. I'm looking in the southwest corner of town, that huge tract of land where we want to increase the density. In the southeast corner, there's another big chunk. It just doesn't seem that we're hanging with the spirit of the comprehensive plan in a lot of areas.
well, it's good feedback and I'll take that back to the board.
Okay.
Anything else, Ed?
No, that was plenty.
Al, I told
Yeah,
you I
we
could
do
talk
that.
long.
Yeah, Joe's running out the clock.
I know. I should have got in on that, huh?
Okay, Lisa, what do we have coming up next meeting?
Our next meeting is June 8th. You have public hearing, you have Guyan minor subdivision at 6465 County Road 41. Applicant is requesting approval to subdivide the 116.964 acre parcel into 2 lots. The existing home will consist of 5 acres and the remaining acres will make up the second lot. Your second one is Champion Hills Country Club at 675 Championship Drive. Applicant is requesting a special use permit to remove the conditions that require Champion Hills Country Club to remain a private club. Your third one is Keystone Novelties Fireworks at 7161 State Route 96. Applicant is requesting approval to set up a 20 by 40 tent to operate a retail sale of sparkler products the 4th of July holiday from 9 to 9 from 24 hours a day. Fourth one would be Wilkins RV. Oh, I'm sorry.
Say they wanna, we already approved that last time from 9 to 9.
That was TNT Fireworks.
Was this another firework?
This is another one down on Route 96.
I guess you can't have too many fireworks then.
Fourth one would be Wilkins RV of Victor, 7447 State Route 96. Applicant is requesting approval to demolish the existing 13,318 square foot showroom. Construct a new 18,560 square foot showroom. And then you have a sketch application, 1086 Strong Road subdivision. At 1086 Strong Road, applicant is requesting to subdivide 34.9 acre parcels into 11 single family lots, including an existing house and garage, and any carryovers.
Okay, and before I forget, I got an email from you just before the meeting started that you're sending something up. I got something a little earlier today. Is that the
Oh,
same thing?
the packet, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
same thing. I had
Okay,
technical issues today.
I know how that goes.
Yep.
Okay, the legal notice for the public hearings appeared in the Daily Messenger along with under review signs being posted on the subject parcels. Postcards were mailed to property owners within a minimum of 500 feet from the location for the initial public hearing date of each application. For applications carried over, please refer to the Planning and Building Office. And with regard to public hearings, speakers are requested to limit comments to 3 minutes and will be asked to conclude comments at 5 minutes. And our first item is the Mooney Pool and Pool House, 7618 Arbor Glen Drive, zoned a limited development district. It's 13 SP 2021, owner Scott Mooney, tax map number 6.01-2-19.000. Applicant is requesting approval to construct a 400 square foot pool house, a 40 foot by 20 foot pool with a 4 foot high fence. Okay, who was here for that? I see the Moonies.
Yes, so I'm Scott.
And-
This is my wife, Chenlin Ching.
Hi.
And you can see that we'd like to build a pool house, a pool, and the fence with some surrounding patio. But I'm going to turn over to Pete Guyan from Marathon Engineering to sort of talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so we're proposing to construct a pool and pool house, as it was mentioned. The pool itself is 40 feet by 20 feet. The pool house is 20 feet by 20 feet or 400 square feet. Inside the pool house is a small kitchen, lounge space, and a bathroom with an outdoor shower. The pool house does not have any sleeping facilities in it. This is really just for enjoying the pool and the outdoors. The water service to the pool house is a 3/4 service that's going to be run directly from the existing house and tap off the existing service to the house. The sanitary service is going to connect into the existing on-site septic system. We did receive comments from both code enforcement and Labella. We sent over written responses earlier today. And we can dive into those a little more specifically if you have any questions on them. But in general, we don't have any issue with making the requested changes. I believe the big one is whether tying the new bathroom and kitchen into the existing septic system would cause any overloading issues. We did the original design for the septic system, so it was designed for 440 gallons a day. And there's a certain safety factor built into that where just having a party or having some friends over won't overload the system. There's just going back to regular use will give the system time to rest and recover. So that I think that was the biggest one, or the one that's going to cause the most concern. We at Marathon don't believe that there's going to be any negative impact to the occasional gathering at the pool house. It's really no different than having a New Year's party during the winter. It's not increasing the use just because you have a pool house. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but we can answer any questions or comments you guys may have.
You had some comments. Have they been addressed?
Ernie, are you speaking to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Sorry, I missed what you mentioned there, but yes, we did provide a letter on May 19th, 2021. And just in general, I guess we noted that this project appears to be fully compliant with the existing zoning regulations. No zoning variances are needed. The applicant, the property owner, is adhering to all zoning requirements, setback requirements, that sort of thing. So we did have a comment on the trench drain, the discharge of a trench drain, and they're going to address that comment. And the additional flows to septic, that was our major concern. And I've seen the written response back from Marathon today, and that's going to satisfy Labella in terms of any concerns with regard to this existing septic system. There is an easement at the back portion of this property. It's a stormwater management easement. This project will not impact anything in that easement, nor will it impact the easement itself. So that's it for us.
Okay. Thanks, Wes. Any comments from the board? I'm going to go from my left over. So Al, you're first.
So no concerns with what's being proposed. I would just, I guess, suggest the applicant look at the 6 and 8 foot concrete areas that looks like are planned to be on the drawing. And while that seems like a pretty ample period, once you put a 6 foot lounge chair on there, it doesn't leave a lot of room to walk by. So from personal experience, you might want to consider at least one area to be wider than what's proposed there.
Yeah, there's a pretty good section north of the pool house. It's a pretty wide, that would be used for lounge chairs and any outdoor tables. So there is an area for lounge chairs and such.
And then the only question I had was the intent to leave any soil created from the digging of the pool. Is that going to stay on the property?
Yes, it is. So the pool house is raised up a bit above existing grade for two reasons. A, to balance the site so we don't have to export any materials. It also allows us to drain an existing septic tank by gravity. So we don't have to use a pump for that.
Okay, that's all I had, Ernie.
Okay, thanks, Al. Joe Limbeck?
I have nothing. It looks like a nice project. I like the looks of the pool house, and everything appears to be in order.
Thanks. Joe Logan?
I was just reading the correspondence through the, with the objections from the Nettletons, I think, and it seems like they don't have the information that they're commenting on regarding the look of the building. Seems like the architecture is nice for the house itself. They feel they're going to be looking at it instead of trees, but I don't see a lot of trees in between the two houses anyway. So I'm not sure what their other objection is here. But I guess I agree with what has already been said about, the look of it and what they're proposing. It seems fine. So I don't know if you folks have had a chance to look at the Nettletons comment.
Ask him.
Not Mooney's.
No, we have not seen that comment.
No, we've not seen it.
You know him?
They're our next, the Nettletons, our next door neighbors.
Yes, we know them.
We know
Yes.
them.
Has he expressed any issues with you?
He came over a couple days ago, I think, to ask exactly what was going on, and I explained it to him, but that was as much as it went, so I don't know.
You know, with all due respect, we've spent tens of thousands of dollars planting trees on our property. There's large trees between us, and part of our landscaping plan is to plant more trees for privacy and also to respect their view as well. You know, the Nettletons are a wonderful family, and we respect their opinions, and hopefully we can do this respectfully if we're allowed to. And keep their needs in mind as well, on both sides. But, you know, our pool house is on the other side of the property where they are actually. So I'm not quite sure how much of it they will be looking at, but our plan certainly is to plant as many trees as we can tastefully.
Which is their property? Is it north, or I should say east or west of your house? I guess.
Whatever that is, so.
On the top of
The top of the page, the top of the page.
Further in, yes. Okay, got it. All right, so they're higher than you guys are, right, in elevation, their house?
They're probably
Like-
lower. Our house, our backyard is almost like in a big mound, and then it trails off on all sides.
Yeah, okay.
We're a little higher elevation probably than them. Yeah, I think so. If I look across, I can see, yes, we're a little higher.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't, like I said, I don't have any objection to your application. I just didn't know if you had a chance to consider what they said and had any comment on it. So,
We didn't get a chance to look at the letter,
Mhm.
but I appreciate the comments.
And you put it up on the screen for them?
I can share, I guess.
Can you?
Yep.
Okay.
Hang on. I'll find the right screen. Here we go. 2. Okay. So, they introduce themselves. They chose to build, they talk about why they built where they did. And then it's rural. Their objection to the third paragraph says, our objection to the proposed project centers on the unknown design of the pool house and the extensive use of hardscape. They're talking about the siting. It says, given the siting of the houses on Arbor Glen Drive, when we look out the back windows of our house, the immediate view is of the Mooney's garden fence and play structure. Plan shows play structure moved and a 400 square foot pool house in that line of view. If the roof pitch of the pool house is similar to that of the main residence, the peak of the roof would be almost 20 feet high. Rather than look at trees and bushes out our back windows, we would be looking at a pool house, fencing, and associated pool paraphernalia. And it sounds like you folks said that you've planted trees between your house and the other 2 houses adjacent, from what I can see on Google Earth. So eventually they would grow up. Yeah, I mean, you're not removing trees, correct?
No.
We're not.
Okay.
Well, they're referring to a zoning variance, which is just not. We're not the zoning board of appeals.
Correct,
This
and
is
we're
the
not
planning board.
requesting a variance or in any need
Yeah.
of a variance, so.
No, the variance isn't required, so that's why you're not before the zoning board.
They're making more of a comment on, as far as the structure goes, that you're duplicating other space that you made with the pergola some years ago, and then I don't know, it's more of a probably their personal preference than something that is important to you folks. So I don't see any issues regarding like Ernie said, there's no variances being requested or anything that's invading their space. So that's essentially what they've been saying in this letter.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Scott?
and
Scott?
like I said, Ernie,
Oops,
just
sorry.
they've done a nice job with the architecture of the building. So I don't know how you could object to that. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Scott, anything?
Just a couple of things. I think it's good if they're going to do some more landscaping, as they indicated they were. I think that shows good faith in responding to the neighbors' concerns. The site, according to Wes, doesn't require any zoning variance. It's code compliant. The only question I had concerning the septic system to the Marathon representative is there a reservation area for the septic system, seeing as how you were the original designers? And if there is a capacity issue, can that reservation area be used?
Yeah, there was room. Part of the original approval required a 50% expansion area of the septic system, and that's further downhill. So that area is not shown on the plans, but it is there.
Okay, so
there is a expansion possibility, yes. But we don't anticipate that being needed.
okay. I have no more questions.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Well, if everybody's ready, we do have a resolution. which
Bernie?
I'll read now.
I move to close the public hearing.
I just wanted to mention that Jack Nettleton was signed on to YouTube, and he simply made a comment that they're a minimal distance higher. I just wanted to say
that again?
there are a minimal distance higher than the Moonies, the Nettletons.
Yeah, the houses are on similar grade or plane. You know, inches, not tens of or feet. That's what I think he's saying.
Yeah, that was his only comment.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Susie. Any other comments from anybody else on YouTube?
No.
Should we close the public hearing?
Yes. And you make the motion, Joe. So Joe Limbeck moves to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is closed. And I'll now read the resolution.
Ernie, before you do
Yeah.
that, they were asking about the building height. They said it's gotta be 20 feet or more. It looks to me like it's about 16 feet tall, and you got 8-foot walls and then a 12/8 pitch, so over and 10 feet wide. It's not going up 10 feet for 10 feet. It's going up, 6.5, 7 feet. So that's 15 feet. So it's shorter than they may have the impression of.
Yeah. Does that sound right? Marathon Engineering?
I don't have the elevations. The Moonies might have a better idea of the elevation on that.
I don't know the exact height, but it's around that. We initially had it something that was built much bigger, and we told our architect, you gotta make it smaller, because we don't want to have a big structure, a huge structure in our backyard, but we thought it needed to be big enough for our own use.
Yeah, we did go back to the architect and ask them to make the roof line, minimal. I don't really know what else to say. And also our requirement for this was that we weren't going to have a giant sea of hardscaping either. And so we appreciate our green space. We have a large garden, and that's why, although I appreciate the comment about making sure we have enough room for lounge chairs, we wanted to minimize the hardscape. We don't want to look back and see just cement either. You're trying to be thoughtful.
That being the case, I'll read the resolution for the Mooney Pool and Pool House, 7618 Arbor Glen Drive. Today's date, May 25th, 2021. Application number 13 SP 2021. Whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 8. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of Lin Ching and Scott Mooney, site plan entitled Mooney Pool and Pool House, drawn by Marathon Engineering, dated April 20, 2021, received by the planning board April 21, 2021. Planning board application number 13 SP 2021 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to the chairman's signature on the site plan. 1, that no final signatures will be given on the plans until all legal and engineering fees have been paid as per fee reimbursement local law adopted November 25, 1996. 2, that the comments in the letter dated May 19, 2021 from LaBelle Associates be addressed. 3, that comments from code enforcement officer dated April 22, 2021 be addressed. Ongoing conditions. 1, that the site plan comply with the town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including section 4. 2, should an underground stream be encountered during construction, The developer is to address the encroachment and impact to the underground stream to the satisfaction of the town engineer. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. We have a motion. Approve.
Move.
Al moves.
I'll second.
Joe Logan seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Approved 5-0. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
The next item. Excuse me, is the Wade Minor subdivision, 140 Klein Road, owner is Jane Wade, 02 MS 2021, zone residential 2, tax map number 1.04-1-3.510. Applicant is requesting approval to create 2 lots from an existing parcel. Lot 1 will contain 4.765 acres with the existing residence and farm structures. Lot 2 will consist of the remaining 24.640 acres. Lot 2 will continue to be used for agricultural purposes, and therefore applicant is requesting a waiver from the design and construction standards. Okay, and who's here for that? Anybody? Is anybody here to comment on this one?
I've tried to get hold of him. I just tried calling him and emailing him and he's not responding.
Oh, all right.
Ernie, I can at least give you my comments on the subdivision while we wait, if we're going to wait
Sure,
for a bit.
yeah,
So
go ahead, Wes.
fairly minor, straightforward subdivision of land. We just asked for the design engineer, the design professional, to add a note about the project also being in the residential A overlay district. And that it's a seeker, it's an unlisted seeker action. And as far as the waiver goes, generally, we would want to see some sort of soil testing to confirm that a lot would perk. In this instance, you know, they're creating a 24-acre lot, right? They're carving off an existing house, and there's going to be 24 acres, so fairly sizable chunk of land, and they don't have any plans to develop it, and it will continue to be used for agriculture. So as far as LaBella is concerned, we don't have any issues with if the planning board wanted to issue that waiver for, you know, not requiring a soil testing or septic.
Okay, thanks, Wes. We'll go the other way this time. Scott, any comment, questions?
I don't have any questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay, Joe Logan?
Oh, this looks pretty straightforward. I don't have a problem with it. It's pretty wide open land, like Wes was saying, for the parcel that's being, you know, separated from the house and barns. So I'm good with it.
Joe Limbeck?
Is it usual to approve something like this without a representative to talk about the proposal?
Well, they're not required to speak. They've made their presentation, so they're going to be limited to four corners of their application.
Okay. I don't have any questions. I don't know if I got enough. I guess I do have enough information. I guess I'm good with this.
Okay, thanks. Al?
Generally speaking, no questions or concerns. The only thing I'm wondering is to be consistent. If I recall, you know, recently we had an application for a similar situation on Boughton Hill Road, and we required the applicant to at least show a proposed drive to ensure that site distance could be adhered to. So if nothing else, other than be consistent between applications, that would be my only ask.
Is there a proposed drive, Wes?
No, there's no proposed access point to this parcel. I mean, if that's something the planning board wants to require, we could have them graphically illustrate that on the Mylar, right? Prior to presenting a Mylar for signature, have them locate a potential access point, right? It doesn't mean it's going to be constructed there, and provide some site distances with that particular point. I don't think that's unreasonable. That's probably something that a design professional would be willing to do, and that would be consistent with previous practice.
Is that okay, Al?
Yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine with that approach.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, a motion to close the public hearing? Joe Lindbeck moves to close. Second by
Second.
Al Polina. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is closed. We have a resolution for the Wade Minor Subdivision, 140 Klein Road. Today's date, 5/25/21. Application number, oh, Susie, was there anybody calling in this one?
No, there were no comments for this one.
Thank you. Application number 02MS 2021. Whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 9. Whereas the town of Victor Planning Board reviewed the unlisted action on May 25, 2021, and identified no significant impacts. So therefore be it resolved that the project Wade Minor Subdivision will not have a significant impact on the environment, and that a negative declaration be prepared. Be it further resolved that the planning board waives the town's design and construction standards for section 1.2 requirements for subdivision of land, including section 1.8.3.1 for individual subsurface disposal systems. And be it further resolved that the application of Jane Wade Minor Subdivision entitled Wade Minor Subdivision, drawn by Freeland Paranello, dated April 12, 2021, received by the planning board May 4, 2021. Planning board application number 02MS 2021 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions that must be met prior to the chairman signing the minor subdivision plan. 1, that no final signatures will be given on the plans until all legal and engineering fees have been paid as per fee reimbursement local law adopted November 25, 1996. 2, that before the planning board chairman signs the approved film originals, the developer should submit 2 copies of electronic files to the town. Copies shall be forwarded to the town engineer's office to confirm that the data on the electronic files are the same as the approved subdivision plans. 3, that section 4 standard approval conditions for all subdivisions, major and minor, and the design and construction standards be met. 4, that the comments in a letter dated May 25, 2021 from Labella Associates be addressed. 5, that the comments from code enforcement officer dated May 25, 2021 be addressed. 6, the application shall be aware that approval of a subdivision does not mean that the parcel is an approved building lot. Site plan approval is required prior to it becoming a buildable lot and before a building permit can be issued. It shall be noted on the subdivision plan. Wes, is there anything you want to add about that access that Al was concerned about?
Why don't we reference that as one of the conditions prior to signing the Mylar, that the potential access point with site distances be added to the plan prior to signature on the Mylar.
Okay, we'll add that as number 7. Okay, conditions that are ongoing, standard conditions that must be adhered to. 1, that the minor subdivision comply with town of Victor's design and construction standards for land development, including section 4. 2, that approved subdivision maps, including conservation easements, lot consolidations, and lot line adjustments, shall be submitted in digital format, AutoCAD 2002 or latest version, effective January 1, 2004, per town board resolution number 193 of June 23, 2003. And be further resolved with the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Good motion.
I'll move.
Joe's got it.
Okay. So Al's hand first, Joe can second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Approved 5-0. As indicated earlier, the Wilkins Matt Better is tabled till the June 8th meeting. Next item really the last one is, except for a discussion item, Crown Castle, 02 SU 2021. The public hearing is still open. This is at 795 Old Dutch Road, Zone Light Industrial. Owner is Global Signal Acquisitions LLC. Tax map number 14.02-1-6.200/TWR. Application is requesting approval to modify existing wireless facility, replacing and removing 6 antennas, replacing 9 RRUs, install 3 RRUs, and install 3 cables. We had a hearing last meeting where they outlined what they want to do. Is anybody here for that one?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, okay. Do you want to add to what you had last time or what I just read?
No, I think we were just waiting for the county comments and the Labella comments.
Yeah, they're in.
And I don't think there was anything actionable or any action I needed to take on any of those. But yeah, it's just a basic antenna upgrade.
Yeah, county didn't really have much of anything to say about it.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions before we go on? Okay, Susie, did anybody, I'm sorry, Joe Lindbeck?
Yeah, the county had a couple of comments about implementing access management by formalizing a cross-access easement with property owner to the north and possibly eliminating the southern access point. And they also talked about potentially, or asking at least, about requiring frontage landscaping and the desired urban or rural character and related spacing and matching of plants. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that, Mr. Killian, or not, but those, the county, approved it, but they did have comments suggesting that those were opportunities to maybe improve the site.
I didn't see that in what I received.
I'm looking at a copy of the, it looks like it's a approval paperwork from the county that it was in our packet dated May 14th. And they did approve it 15-0, but they did have the comments about access management and plantings. Not a requirement, just some proposed thoughts about how to maybe improve the site. Clearly, it's a surprise to you, so I'll let it go.
I'm looking at it. I don't have, I wasn't sent that, so.
Okay.
I guess.
Where do you see that, Joe?
It's down on the bottom of the paperwork. That was the last page that was in our packet. Has a single sheet with the county paperwork in it.
That's not the one with a big X across, is it?
I see it under comments.
Yeah.
Joe, I think that is for Geneva Planning Board. Is it the one at the very bottom?
Yeah, that's for Geneva.
Oh,
Yeah,
good Lord,
is.
I thought that's a senior moment. Sorry about that.
Okay.
On mine is a big X across it, so I just ignored it.
Yeah, I
So
did the same thing.
Mine doesn't have an X.
Never mind.
Well, I know what could be confusing about these county responses, because they pile them all on one page and it's not necessarily all the same project.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
we'll just clarify the record that what was being referred to was for the town of Geneva.
Well, you got my blood moving. You woke me up.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We're all doing
I'm good.
this.
I'm good.
I didn't get that sheet either, so I didn't know where it was coming from.
Okay. Anything else on this? Anybody calling in on this?
No, there are no comments.
Okay, then we will have a motion to close the public hearing. Who will make that?
I'll move.
Joe Lindbeck makes it, second by
Joe Logan.
Joe Logan. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. We got a resolution on this for Crown Castle, 795 Old Dutch Road. Today's date, May 25, 2021, application number 02-SU-2021. Whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 11 of them. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of David Killian of Crown Castle Site Plan entitled Crown Castle, site plan entitled Crown Castle, project located at 795 Old Dutch Road, drawn by Kimley Horn, dated March 1, 2021, received by the Planning Board April 15, 2021, Planning Board Special Use Application number 02SU 2021, 02SU21, be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to the chairman's signature on the site plan. One, that no final signatures will be given on the plans until all legal and engineering fees have been paid as per fee reimbursement local law adopted November 25, 1996. Ongoing conditions: one, that the site plan comply with the town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including section 4, and be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Okay, a motion on this.
I'll move.
Joe Logan moves, second. Joe Limbeck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passed 5-0. That concludes the agenda items. However, there is one last item, and that is a discussion item. That's with regard to the Fairways Phase 3. And Wes is going to discuss the intersection of High Street and Gillis Road. I just make a comment. I noted the obituaries yesterday that Tony DiMarzo passed on. So
Really? Wow.
Okay, Wes, it's yours.
All right, thank you. So I'll start with the secret findings. Oh, we got a presentation going. There we go. Look at that. So I've got some screen sharing that I can do as well. So as part of the seeker mitigation requirements for the Fairways project overall, one of the mitigation measures that was required indicates that they want that paving of the shoulder on the westbound Gillis Road approach to High Street to allow for right turn movements while vehicles wait to make a turn left. This will be accompanied by some vegetation removal on High Street within the right of way near this intersection. So as you can see on the graphic on the screen, the graphic on the left, north is to the right. Okay, so if your High Street is kind of left and right. If you're going to the mall, that's to the right. If you're going towards the village, that's to the left. Gillis Road, that approach, as you see on the left, there are 2 lanes there currently. So this finding statement was made in 2006, right? Conditions have changed on High Street since 2006. For example, one of the changes has been the High Street Reconstruction project. As part of that reconstruction project, High Street was widened in some places. I think there's even a turn lane here on High Street to turn onto Gillis Road. It also included some drainage improvements. So now there's drainage infrastructure underneath this, in locations underneath this intersection. And there are some gutters that wrap around the corner they're on High Street, and then they wrap around the corner onto Gillis Road. So in order to satisfy that condition, Passero put together that plan, and I'll share that restriping plan, and I've got some other things I'll share as well. So this restriping plan, as you see, it does not include any additional pavement, right? And the finding statement was interesting because it didn't require an actual turn lane. It didn't specify that a turn lane be provided. It just said pave the shoulder with some blacktop to allow for cars to squeak by and turn right if there were cars queued up and going left. So we've looked at Wade Daly, one of our roadway engineers here at Labella, and Mark Years. They've looked at this restriping proposal, and it's a little bit substandard. The turn lanes that have been provided here are 10 feet wide. industry standard is more about 12 feet wide turn lanes. So they're a little short there. And this project, this restriping plan also takes away some shoulder width, right? So moving, restriping that roadway, they're going to take away the area for pedestrian and bicycle traffic that might be, on those roadways. So it's not the safest, might not be the safest alternative. The stop bar isn't quite positioned maybe the way we would want to see it as well. We might want to see that stop bar be a little more parallel with High Street rather than perpendicular to the Gillis Road area. So we've talked it over with Mark Years, Wade Daly, and there are some potential solutions to this. We don't think that this is the best solution. Also talked with Mark Tarian a little bit and got his input. And we can't just ignore it and let it go away, right? Because this was a seeker mitigation item. It's something that needs to be addressed, and we need the planning board. What we want to do is present to you some options and have you make a decision or give some guidance as to what you would like to see. One option might be to leave the intersection as it is, sacrifice any level of service decrease as a result of this new connection. And this this proposed restriping plan and this proposed paving was done because of the new connection to Gillis Street. Championship Drive, right, is going to loop from High Street all the way to, I'll bring that graphic up too here, see if I can. You guys see the aerial? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So Championship Drive is here, right? Phase 3 is in this blank area right here. And what this phase 3 was going to do, as you recall, is connect to High Street. So theoretically, you're going to have more traffic coming out of High Street, maybe turning left, and then maybe turning left or right onto High Street. So where was I going? So one alternative, the first alternative that we think might be feasible would be just a do nothing alternative, simply sacrifice the level of service and recognize that maybe there's going to be some delays there. We did ask Mark Years, just as a general question, have you noticed any traffic backups here at this intersection of cars, getting stacked up due to the volumes of traffic on High Street? My recollection is that Mark indicated that there didn't seem to be anything significant in his memory that really stood out to him. So that's one alternative. Alternative 2 might be to do some sort of adjustment of this particular arrangement, this restriping plan. Maybe it's repositioning this stop bar so it's a little more parallel with High Street. The way they've got it here, we wouldn't want it constructed that way, because if someone were stacked in the left lane, the person that was trying to turn right would probably have to pull out a little bit farther into the intersection to turn right, and they might actually be pulling into the traveling lane of High Street. Alternative 3 might be to do some additional paving around this corner, along with maybe some restriping here to provide the 12-foot turn lanes. The existing conditions here, as you can see, there's some light stone, there's a stone lined swale, but maybe to do some additional paving here, it might involve some vegetation removal on this property, so that you've got an adequate shoulder for pedestrians and bicyclists. And then that would provide some turn lanes. The fourth alternative might be to do something like what the mitigation requirement indicated, and actually, do some restructuring of this particular side of the road, the north side of Gillis Road. It probably would involve removing vegetation in this location. I think there's a utility pole here as well. All right, so you've got this utility pole here. I don't know that this one would be affected. It might be, but certainly you can see also here, there's a drainage, there's a catch basin here, right? And the gutter that wraps around, there's another inlet or catch basin here. So maybe do some reconstruction on this side of the roadway versus this side. So those are 4 alternatives that we wanted to, bring your way and get your thoughts on. And, we don't have to make a decision tonight, right? And maybe what we could do is I could list these alternatives for you and maybe identify some pros and cons of each, and somehow supplement the seeker findings with with the information that you guys have today, given the changed conditions at this intersection, right? Because I don't know that this drainage, all this drainage was here previous to the High Street construction project. It may not have been. I could find out for sure. I have the design plans that I could look up and reference.
Hey, Wes, when did you say the secret was done? Was it 2006?
2006, correct.
That's 15 years ago. I mean, would it be worth to just do a mini traffic study of wait times at the intersection, see if anything is even warranted? If it's a non-issue, then maybe that just bolsters the case that, hey, 15 years ago, we thought it was going to be a problem, but guess what? It's not.
Yeah, that may be. Yeah, I could discuss that with Kim and town staff, and maybe that's the direction that we give the developer, is to maybe do a mini traffic study, tell us what's going on here with anticipated traffic that might be coming out of the new Championship Drive connection. And maybe that would tell us, okay, nothing needs to be done.
Yeah, because I mean, my sense is if the additional traffic off of Championship Drive adds queue time, then people are just going to go out the other exit, right? The existing exit onto High Street, which is further to the south, west, whatever that is, right? And they'll just naturally come out at a more convenient location.
As a person who's been traveling this High Street to the mall for about 28 years, if you could close in on that intersection again, where you show that car pulling out west, motorists coming out of Gillis Road make some pretty poor decisions. Part of it, if you see where that car is, the stop sign is actually just about even with the end of the double yellow and the rear of that car.
So here?
It often appears that cars are pulling out without having stopped at all. If we were to move that stop line, actually put a stop line on the pavement and maybe move the stop sign up 6 or 8 feet, they would have a better shot at seeing the oncoming traffic. Because right now, if they stop where the stop sign is, that property to below them, there blocks the view of oncoming traffic. They're making a right turn and going up a hill. If you look at the 85th percentile speed of traffic on High Street, it's about 50 miles an hour. So there's a lot of braking that goes on when people pull out, quote, in front of you on High Street. And I think by putting a turning lane next to that lane for people turning right, it's further going to compound their opportunities for error, because their visibility is going to be reduced. So I think keeping it as a single lane and maybe moving that stop sign a little bit so that they've got more visibility to their left before they turn right to go up that hill would improve the safety of the intersection. Again, with traffic the way it is, I don't necessarily see a need for an extra lane. I don't think it's that congested. I think we can actually improve the safety by moving that stop sign and leave it at that. Maybe take out some vegetation to the left of this picture so they can actually see a little better. That's pretty heavily forested, or whatever you want to call it, or it does block visibility from the current stop line anyways. Just a thought, maybe there's an option 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so see where that car is. If the stop line was ahead of that car, that might improve things all the way around.
And if you could move the double line there, that it's right next to the left a bit,
Mhm.
That would almost force them to go 90 degrees to the traffic and have a better view.
That's true.
Oh, I see what you're saying. A little line coming this
Yeah.
way, the center
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Right.
I agree with Joe's comment. I live about a half mile away from the intersection. I go through there every day. And I think the 2 lanes side by side, at least at present, if that were to be done, it would cause people competing for sight distance trying to pull out of there. Right now with a single lane, it's more controlled. I agree with the vegetation issue that people pull way out there because they can't see due to the vegetation. They pull way out and past the stop sign, and there is no stop bar. So I think adjusting the stop sign if you can, certainly putting the stop bar further out there, I think those are good things to do that maybe don't cost the developer very much money. I also agree with the traffic study. I don't think it hurts to get some backup and see what's going on out here 15 years later.
So when you're speaking of the vegetation removal, which side of the roadway are you talking about? Are you talking about over here?
Nope, on the left side.
This side here?
Yeah, because what's happening, Wes, is when you're taking a right-hand turn to go up the hill, if you can't really see well what's coming, you're not getting any speed. The traffic coming from your left is going, again, if you look at the 85 percentile speed,
yep.
They're doing probably 50. And then you got that bucket truck blocking the view. So, they're apt to pull out in front of traffic that's typically exceeding the speed limit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you have vegetation issues on both sides.
And by moving the stop bar up a little bit, you might mitigate some of the effect of the view on the left. But to Scott's point, the vegetation on both sides could be cut back.
Okay. This is great. This is the type of feedback that I'm looking for. Anything else?
All I got.
Me too.
Kim, do you have anything?
Nope,
I'm putting her on the spot.
no,
Okay.
nope, I'm good.
All right. Let me take some of these ideas back to Wade and Mark Years and also talk with Kim about maybe having the developer do a mini traffic study, and we'll see what we can bring back to you.
Very good.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
There being no further business, we would entertain a motion to adjourn. Joe Logan makes the motion to adjourn. Joe Limbeck seconds. Those are our motion men today. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
All right, take care. Have a good
Thank you.